There's yet another JonBenet Ramsay documentary, and I would say documentary in quotes, even though it's made from a documentary filmmaker, Kitty Green, and that this debuted at Sundance, and it's getting a lot of accolade. This documentary is part fiction, part nonfiction. It's a little bit different. It's gonna air on Netflix. Let's watch the trailer and then we'll discuss.
It's the morning of the 26th.
The police were searching the house.
That's when they opened the door to the wine cellar and saw her covered in her favorite white blanket.
It was the biggest thing to happen to Boulder in a very long time.
My name's Hannah and I'm auditioning for the role of JonBonet Ramsay. Do you know who killed JonBonet Ramsay?
I'm auditioning
For the role of John Ramsay.
I'm auditioning for the role of Patsy Ramsay.
Okay, people, here we go.
Patsy Ramsay was a beauty pageant queen herself.
John Ramsay was a very successful man.
There have been many stories about who killed JonBenet.
There was so much speculation.
He was in JonBenet's bedroom.
It was a 3-page ransom note.
It still haunts me.
There was a Santa Claus that was at the party.
This is why I have a background check every year.
In cases like that, it's always somebody you know.
Good girl.
The mother had to do it. Why would she have no motive?
And then her husband.
I think he's the innocent one.
Actually, the son.
There's no way a 9-year-old could pull off a murder like this.
If you tell someone a secret, it's no longer a secret. Why do I have to wear a wig?
I did not kill my daughter.
She took the town by storm with her all-American face and form. In order to act, you tell the truth. All I have to do is think about finding just a little bunny and her little light.
Mommy?
Not being there anymore.
Very chilling. I should also, you may have gathered through that trailer, the actors, they asked the actors who are all from Boulder, Colorado area, which is the area where they used to live when JonBenet died or was murdered. And they asked these actors to openly share their personal feelings, because even us who are removed from that area, we all have feelings on it. We covered it on Murder with Friends, and everyone is compelled by this case. But living in that Boulder area, you can imagine how that's gonna be amplified. So they really had these actors not only audition, I'm not sure how they follow it throughout, but they also really wanted to get their take on what their thoughts were. And that's a totally different, I've never seen a documentary have that type of a medium.
It's really fresh what they're doing with documentaries now.
And I have no opinion on the JonBenet murder at all. Like I didn't care about it. I would always make fun of Grace for how much she
remembered
obsessed
it?
over
Did you remember it?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
The only reason why I know about it is because it was in the forefront of everyone's minds. They like covered it relentlessly, and then also because I'm unfortunately friends with Grace, who won't shut up about this murder.
That's why
nonstop.
we're doing the story.
And the reality is, it's like it shouldn't be called casting JonBenet. It should be called Why is Grace so obsessed with JonBenet? What is the truth about Grace? The truth about Grace story. Because like, I think you did it. I don't know how old you would have been at the time, but I secretly think you did it. But aside from the joke, I had like, as much as I don't care about this story at all, I had goosebumps through the entire video, entire trailer.
Yeah, it's a little girl was brutally murdered, and here you're reading these little taglines from like Entertainment Weekly saying entertaining, compelling, and I get it. A lot of movies are based on murder and these cold cases, and it's nothing new, but it still feels weird to be so entertained by such a horrific story.
Yeah,
we talked
Grace,
about that.
it feels weird to be entertained by such gruesome murders, Grace.
Okay, so what I think is interesting about what they're doing with this documentary is that I've seen documentaries before where they're focusing on a specific line of evidence that leads them to a conclusion because we still, it's unsolved. So they'll go down this evidence, this evidence, this evidence, it was an intruder, or this evidence, this evidence, this evidence, it was the mother, or whatever. This documentary, it feels like they're just sort of going after the feelings that came.
What we're talking about right now.
Yeah, that surrounded the JonBenet Ramsay case more so than they are looking at concrete evidence. And you're looking at what felt true depending on what person is asked the question, who did it? And so you're seeing people of the community, which is very interesting because the Ramsay family were prominent figures in the Boulder community. And so these are probably people that were somewhat adjacent to these people. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. No. I mean,
21 years ago?
Yeah, it was like 21 years ago. So it is kind of an interesting way of interpreting it. What I hope doesn't happen is that people watch this documentary on Netflix and then look to it as fact, because it looks that there's going to be a lot of speculation, and it's a lot of people that have heard this from a CBS documentary and they've heard this from a 2020 documentary, and there's no way that that an actor or that that we as like television hosts can know exactly what happened. And sometimes just because you're given the platform of being in front of a camera, people will take that as the absolute truth. So I think just taking it for what it is and avoiding words like entertaining would be nice. Just it's a thing that happened. It fascinated the country. That says something about the human condition, why it was so fascinating, what were the elements of the story that were so compelling. But it's compelling, it's not entertaining, it's fascinating. What can we learn about ourselves? It's not cool, Right. So I think that's, let's just hope that it's treated delicately because that's what she deserves.
Will you do, I 100% agree with you. Will you do, because we did a JonBenet episode on Murder with Friends a while back. I think it was even before the CBS documentary.
It was the first Murder with Friends we did.
It was the first one.
It was before the CBS documentary, and would you ever do a follow-up now?
Sam, I would do a follow-up with you. Yes, absolutely.
Maybe we should do a follow-up after this then.
I've gone over this case a lot. I am interested in this case. I know. As Hasan said, I am interested in this case.
Obsessed would be the operative word I use.
Your mom is too, right?
My mom a little bit too, yeah. And
more so.
And I think that I always come to different conclusions on what I think happened, and we'll never exactly know. But it would be cool. No, it wouldn't be cool. But it would be, I think, good to have a follow-up on what we did, especially because I don't think I was that good in that episode. You were great.
No, you
I
were
think
fantastic.
I was not so good. So
we just didn't have all these additional
you were really bad.
Documentaries and additional research to even talk about.
Yeah.
Because there's just more and more since then. Since we did it right when we were hitting almost like the 20th anniversary, and then there's been stuff since. So we'll have to relook at it again.
What I'm fascinated by when it comes to these sort of series, and this is really interesting because it takes a completely different approach, like we talked about already, looking at actors that are casting for these roles. However, I love it when documentaries do uncover truths that were previously not out there, and then it really has real life consequences. And I'm obsessed with that. It happened with, if you guys remember, what's the name?
The Jinx.
Well, the Jinx.
Yeah.
It happened first with the Jinx, the Robert Durst story
on HBO,
where he went to jail because of it. Like, this is amazing.
And we're seeing that right now. I don't know if this is a podcast. Are you guys listening to the Tara Grinstead podcast?
No, what is that?
So Tara Grinstead, she was a beauty queen and a school teacher like years ago, like 15 years ago in, I want to say Alabama, Georgia. And he started this podcast, this guy that just was very interested in it by going on Web Sleuths. So Web Sleuths is where if you're like a Grace and you're passionate about breaking cold cases, but you really don't have the experience other than your passion, you can go on Web Sleuths and you can log into this like portal where a lot of people are also talking about these cases and you can connect with people. Long story short, he started this podcast like a year ago. It's been a cold case for this long. They just got an arrest. And it was one of her now there's 2 arrests. So like a week ago they announced, 2 weeks ago there was an arrest now. So you guys should, so yeah, you're right. Like if it weren't for this podcast where there have been interest again within this town and within this police department, where they would have done additional digging, or maybe people started talking and then someone, we still don't know the details.
With Stephen Avery as well, with making a murder.
Stephen Avery as well.
And that's amazing.
That's right.
I love it when art impacts real life
and Serial
in that
and
way.
all of that.
Yeah, I just don't think that that's what this show is aiming to do. I don't think they're trying to turn up any new information. I think they're trying to dig into what was it about this story
the
that
exploration
fascinated so many people.
Right.
I agree with that. I'm just saying I'm still holding out hope for that maybe there will be something that they uncover because of it, or maybe they will really legitimately increase the interest in this cold case once again.
She deserves justice.
Yeah,
100% agree with you. She deserves justice. 1996 is when she died, Christmas of 1996. And then this
where was Grace, I ask?
Yeah, when were you born, Grace?
I was born in 1990.
Okay,
exactly.
So Grace was 6. All right.
Exactly.
Old enough to murder, in my opinion.
An age ripe to murder.
Okay, all right. Let's not start that rumor.
Yeah, let's not.
Okay, Casting JonBenet, that's the name of the documentary. They're calling it a documentary, even though it's fiction and nonfiction. But Casting JonBenet debuts on Netflix on April 28th, and perhaps we'll do a follow-up on Murder with Friends.